So talking with the machine, it was at the beginning hard. From 0 1 stage to now all the developed languages which is closer to human language, and all the processes that we were seeing with the new languages was like we were building something for this day. And that was like we were building something to be closer to the human language. Now with cloud or other AI solution that you can just write, I want an app to do that and this and that, and then it will build for you. And that is the future.
On today's show, we have a special guest. He is an experienced mobile and AI engineer, founder and CEO of Psychologist, and he is on a personal mission focused around making a better society by helping developers worldwide. Emad, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Nice meeting you. And I hope I can share as much as you want from me. And yeah, let's see what's going to happen.
Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience? Just a
Sure,
brief
sure.
intro of who you are?
Sure. My name is Emad. I've been in the tech industry past 12 years. I have a IT for my bachelor and MBA for my master. Been in small and large companies, a startup. I had my own company 8 years ago. I failed. I closed it, and then I worked in Iran, and then moved to Denmark. Work in large companies, corporate mainly in Denmark, from public to private sector, and been working on my product for year and a half or something, and then I decided in May to quit and fully focus on psychologist, and now I'm here with you. I past 2 years also I've been doing public speaking around the world, from Japan to US, everywhere in Europe, and now I'm like fully focused on my baby.
Awesome. How did you decide, just to go in a little bit back into your history, how did you decide to go with software development? Where
Ah, that's a good question. So I actually hated software development. Uh, I I decided to go to pure physics and be a scientist. I was this close to go to the university for that purpose, but there was a guy that helped me with deciding to go where, and he passed away. But he told me uh, the future is about IT, and prioritize IT more than pure physics. Even though I still love it. But so I just go with I went with IT, and the first couple of things about software development I had in the university was like I couldn't understand. I got like every top grade for the physics as a public as a different topic we had, but with the software development, nothing. Like, and then one day I failed a software development course in the university, and I said like, no, I need to learn that thing. And it took me a month and a half to build some software with, I think it was with Java or C or something. But I just fell in love to it. It was like I can build something. It was the same mentality as I had with physics, that I could like understand the reasoning behind things, and then uh, metaphysics and everything. But in the software was something else. And in our family, my brother has a good uh, good side of the brain that is like he is a art director. He see things that I don't see at all. And for me it was like physics was not tangible, but it, software is also not tangible. But at least there is something more visual that I can see, even though I don't have any artistic mind. But I can like with logical mind I can build something that works, and that was the feeling I had at the beginning. And then just built up on everything, and now I love software. Uh, Still having hard time with the hardware, but software is nice.
Nice. I have seen that you have plenty of experience. You're talking about softwares with iOS. And can you explain a little bit how specialized are you in this topic, and how long have you worked with iOS development?
So I started with the Java development, C plus, and everything, and then at the time, Android was no, it was Symbian for Nokia, and then some Java OS for different phones. At that time, I started building mobile apps because I knew the future is about mobile apps, and then moved to Android very early version, and I didn't like it. I don't know why, but I didn't like it. And then in Iran at that time, there was no teacher, no nothing about iOS, and there was only one company importing Apple stuff. I don't know legally or illegally, but what I got was like my brother gave me a MacBook, and I start doing Apple from like Mac to iOS, different software, and then I got a lot of online courses at that time. I think it was called Linda, the website that you were learning, and I learned myself how to develop apps and build up on that through the years, being in like as a tech lead, project leader, mobile developer, different position. But I learned how to develop software since the beginning, and instead of focusing on the web, I focus on the app, which was more closer to the software than just the web, uh, like HTML stuff at that point. And I realized how the software works in detail and closer to the hardware of the phone. uh, and yeah, worked in different companies, learn how to do things, and then I was teaching at the university in Iran as well, how to do mobile development, very fundamental things about it. And then when I moved to Denmark, I was like, I love continue teaching, and it's like there was no way, and English was not my first language. I started writing articles, making video courses for a fancy or number one website after Apple and Google, called Codeco nowadays, but old days called something else. And then it was building a career per se, instead of focusing on the teaching at university or some private institute. It was like, okay, I can go with the public speaking. I learned a lot, and one of the good things in that website was I could pick up the topic that I have no experience, and then learn from the main source of Apple or Google, and then tell people how to do it in a simple way, because usually the documentation from large companies are not easy to understand, and our job was to simplify those. And yeah, build like more than 20 different apps. uh, I had my own developer account very early days, and I remember one of the first apps that I built was like, what is your color based on your name? And it was some stupid logic behind it. All the character has different values, and then there was like 10 different colors based on 10 different digits. And I sold, I think, $40,000 or something. At that point, it was like nothing on the stores, and you could just put things. I had another app for NASA, or a lot of different things in different languages. I had to support in that color app. It was like I had an ad, and people were paying me to remove the ad to be able to use the app. And the app was like, just put your name and get the color and some definition behind the scene. Like, it was nothing. And people were saying were paying money to remove the ads. It's like, are you for real? And then there was some request to translate it, instead of only English, go with Persian, Arabic. It's like, okay, I'll do it. It was fun days, old days when people were having like. If you do, you remember the app that was cost $1,000 and it was
Is it the was it the
Yeah,
diamond
the
or like it was
diamond?
like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It was at
Uh,
that point, like when
yeah.
when I was like, yeah.
After
What?
right after the fart apps and
Yeah,
and before the app store really
yeah,
kick off
yeah,
and become like a very competitive
yeah.
environment, right?
I never get any
Yeah.
of those monies because legally we were not allowed to have an account on Apple. So I used my some of my relative identity to build an Apple account, but I could never get the money out of that. Yeah, Apple
That
owns it,
sucks.
but still, it was fun experience.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And another experience that I have seen that you have worked with Imaginate. Maybe that's the and I seen that now they're building Laura's to sell. Is it true? How's your role like in the company? How is it built?
So I'm consulting them about AI and how they can use it. They are built. They are a large becoming a large advertisement agency in Canada, and I'm helping them with the AI and all the tech part and how they can build upon everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So you have a deep knowledge into Laura's.
Ah, yeah. Not only Laura, but all the video generation and all image generating things, how we can do things, and mainly the things that we are using. It's not. It's a internal AI that we are building and running in our machines. We have a huge servers and everything.
I was about to ask you, like, how did you change from building apps to get into AI? How was your like journey? It looks like a natural path, but at the same time, it's different areas in the same. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it actually started from my bachelor. My thesis on bachelor was how to make apps secure. So at that point, I was looking at the security a lot regarding the mobile apps, and then slowly build up on like, okay, if I need to be more expert on the app, I need to know more on the backend servers, those sort of things. And then a couple of last position I had was mainly about the leading of mobile team, and then system architecture, solution architecture, and in past two position I had was I was focusing more on the architecture, and I was like at the same time teaching about mobile development and how the impact of AI is coming. I studied AI in the university as well, not as a main topic, but some of the courses I had was about AI many years ago, and not this term of the AI that is going these days, but pure machine learning, artificial intelligence, all those things. And then so I had another podcast about mental health, and I shared the link with you. You can put it on the description here. But I was opening up about my situation past couple of years, how I was dealing with the mental health, and one of the topic I was talking around the world was how what can we do without AI in the future, and that was mainly focusing on the AI and the impact of AI on the developers and also on the industry. And since I was dealing with the mental health myself as well, when I was out of that situation and everything went well, I realized, okay, that's the point. I need to focus more on something that matters. And it's, to be honest, it's now or never, because we are in the position, and as your podcast is also about that, it's like transitioning from something to something else, and we don't know which one is good or bad, but that's the point. So I focused more on the AI, dealing with a lot of like different solution out there, learning a lot about those, sharing the knowledge, and then how how any applications, doesn't matter if it's mobile app or if it's the web app or Mac app, whatever, it can be affected by that. And for knowing that or for working with that, you have to learn a lot. Not only about what is ChatGPT or how to work with those LLMs these days, but mainly about how we can leverage those in a better way. Especially since 2016, we had more of a public use of machine learning and AI, and now is like a public knowledge about AI, how things going and how things happening around the world by using AI. That was the reasoning behind it. Why I focused more on that topic.
So you touched upon mental health and AI, and then basically your company, the company that just started, that made you quit your job and start your own company, Psychologist, is a combination of both, right? So what made you quit your job and then start that company? What was the reason behind, and what was the experience of starting your own company?
So I can tell you a little bit more about it from before. When I moved to Denmark, uh, so as I mentioned, I think English was not my first language. I studied that in high school, partially in university, and never learned it in a like real way or like my mother tongue. It was not like that. And 2 years before I moved to Denmark, I took a private teacher and learned more. I moved to Denmark. I got rejected by many companies, not because of my experience, but because of the language barrier and all the effects that can have in the work culture and the work environment. And at the very last interview I had, I said like to my wife, I'm not gonna apply anywhere else. I'm tired. I applied many places. I signed up for a English course to learn more in the public class in Denmark, and I was like, okay, when I learn that, I start my own business because these days there is a word in Silicon Valley happening. The new word is like founder mode, and founder mode is a thing that you either have or not, and you learn it, but it's more of an energy inside you, and it's not a CEO, it's not a CTO, it's not any of those. It's more of a style
Like
of
a
living or something, and
like a state of mind, right?
yeah, state of mind, exactly. And at that time I had that in my mind, and I was like, if I didn't get accepted to this job, I'm not gonna do it, and I focus on my own startup or my own company. I do something. I got accepted in that position as a software engineer, and lucky me, my boss was also a foreigner, moved to Denmark, and he said like, you learn it, that's fine. And I think that was the company I met Daniel in TDC, and it was perfect. But I had this energy, I had this state of mind, and dealing with mental health is not easy, especially some corona side effect was that a lot of people had some time, alone time, to realize what's happening with themselves, with their life, with different things. And some of us uh, were feeling that if they had a huge or really drastic changes in their life, and including me, so I was dealing with that, and I said like, I think that's enough after I got out of that situation. And I was working for many people. And to be honest, there were not that much different between Iran work culture and Denmark, even though you see like a huge difference between like first world countries, third world country, and like, no, third world country, first world country. But all in all, it was the same, different style of management, different style of interaction with people and collaboration. And I was like, I'm tired. And I was working on this project idea with a couple of friends and said like, let's see what will happen. I was tired and said like, I got my permanent residence in Denmark, and I said like, I'm not forced to work anymore for anyone. I can just work for myself. And I quit my job, and my wife is a great support, and she said like, go ahead, you do something. I believe in you. And she pays for all the mortgage and everything thanks to her. And now is I met many people. Our company is like 13 people right now. A lot of them are volunteering, and some of them are full time, some of them are part time, and have a different good people as co-founders and also as employees. 7 different mentors, and all I used my money. Nothing is coming from investors. I'm waiting for some investors to get back, but the whole idea is like, I need to build something to help uh, people like me. It can be developers, it can be just a human, and I want to, and the solution is to help or fix the root. And the root here is psychologists or mental health professionals, and I want to help them to focus more on the patient, and we do all the administrative tasks, whatever burden they have in their mind, and we save time for them, and they can focus more on themselves or have more patient or have, and if you could fix that one, it's just having better society and having more healthier people around you. I'm also on the side doing some conference to help developer. It's a developer mental retreat. It's a mental retreat for developers, and that's next year. But generally speaking, I believe I need to help somehow by using AI, uh, or this public knowledge of AI that is out there. But building a software doesn't matter if it's AI or not. But these days, all the things that we are doing, it has a tag as an AI. But we are building a core, not just a chat for another type of chat with someone else or some AI. We are building a workflow for psychologists to have to focus more on the thing that matters, which is a human, not the machine. Yeah, that was the whole story.
Oh, that's nice.
Awesome.
No, it was about trust because we both are foreigners. Like three of us, we are foreigners in a Nordic country. Let's say, how was it like the for you to adapt to a new culture? Because we always struggle a little bit, and then it can impact in the mental health and in how we perceive and get integrated in the society. How was it for you and for your family? Like to
So integration and the new culture, it's definitely a thing, especially if you're moving from not mature culture of like different style to completely different things. But for me, it wasn't that much hard because tech culture is the same. As I said, like in the companies, everything was the same, and there was like nothing different. Like all my friends back in Iran time were coming from my companies that I was working, and then nowadays it's almost the same. So friendship, work culture, everything is the same. But the sorry, but the thing about integration to the new society and everything, it depends on how mature you are or how your brain works and how your lifestyle. Because I don't like capitalism, to be honest, and I just ran away from that mentality. I traveled to New York. It felt like home for me. It was like everyone are running, like money is a thing, and then so I don't want that. At the same time, being in a startup these days, you should follow the same path. Like I used to work 40 hours as a full-time employee per week, and I was almost in traffic 4 hours per day, which is like 20 hours plus per week. So 60 hours only for first job, and I had two, three jobs at the same time, teaching in an institute, and then having a side project, all sort of things. I just ran away, moved to Denmark. It was like 37 hours, including lunch, and commute is like max half an hour. Like in total 40 hours if you waste everything per week. And I had a whole life next to me empty. I got like side hustle. Like I start writing. I still had more time. Okay, I go to the gym. Still have more time. Okay, my family still have more time. I couldn't sleep. Like those fundamental thing that you have here worth more than everything. So I could easily, when I got my permanent, I could start working different countries or do different things. But
So
I
we're
said, yeah,
basically what you're talking about is the work-life balance, right? And then I think the Nordics are worldwide recognized for really really putting a lot of weight into that. And yeah, I agree. It's great. It's great to have that very well balanced, even working in tech.
yes, yes. It's like you have peace of mind. Okay, if you're out of company, no one call you. No one like even expect you if you're going to have a holiday or something. It's like off the hook completely. There are some companies that they're not following, but basically is the way the culture is like that. I was like, why not? When you're coming from a worse situation to the best situation, it's easy to integrate. But the other way is hard. And lucky me, I wasn't in that position. So everything went smooth.
And then,
Which is
Emad, what are the challenges that you face, like combining AI with psychology-focused applications?
So many challenges, to be honest.
Yeah.
The first and foremost thing is I don't know if it's a good or bad challenge, but the whole AI thing in Europe. So I love European console and all. I love Europe mentality that is like taking care of humans and especially their citizen to not be involved in a uncontrolled system. But AI, these AI, you can't like fully control it. That's why it's usually take time for all the large company to get involved in EU any AI solution. But that's a challenge definitely, and we are having a lot of collaboration with uh, large companies like Microsoft to make sure everything following like GDPR and all the regulation to make sure we are not leaking any sensitive data towards these systems. But on the other hand, since I'm a tech guy, and some of other people in our company are also fully focused on the tech, we can find a solution. One of the solution we have is like on-device transcribing, so nothing leaves the device, so everything is locally, and then when it gets to transcription, we remove all the sensitive data and then pass it to the AI, and we have like consent management, which allows clinicians and also patients to decide what to do with their data. Because we are living in EU, we want to follow all those rules, and we don't want to do anything that goes against us as a human also. Because to be honest, when I was going to therapy sessions, I didn't know that my session being recorded, and that is the right for me, but I wasn't in the right situation of mind to focus on what I'm signing. And I got a form at the very first session that was a consent form in Danish, and I didn't notice. Like, sure, I just signed it. It's my info, and I realized it after. But lucky us, especially in Denmark, it's everything is under control. Nothing like I know a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists that they are recording their session with the consent, and nothing leaves their office. So they have it like all the recording and the tape in there. They are not using it for anything except for like supervision or learning purposes, or just reviewing whatever. And we are following the same path. We are trying to help them in the same direction. And if you're offering some solution to them, it's more of a anonymous data that we are processing, and everything is clear for everyone, and we are going like transparent, and hopefully at some point they can get access to everything, and they can just delete or see and everything. Right now we are developing, but uh, the whole idea is to not do nothing behind the scene, because that's a human thing. We are focusing on the mental health, and we want to make a safe space for psychologists and change some culture, because it's hard to trust the computers from their point of view. and and now we are building something. If we are not building it, someone else build it, and then we don't know who decide on what. But what we know is we are building some software that's help them, because right now there are some people that I know that they are just using their notes. It's anonymous and everything, and then feeding to ChatGPT or other solution to get some summary, and that is fine, but it's not tuned for mental health. It's not. There are a lot of hallucination and everything, but we are trying our best to get to the place that the system is something that they can trust, and we offer everything for them.
Maybe we skipped a small introduction to what psychology is, right? Can you just in one sentence try to summarize what the app does?
So it's a web and mobile app. It's a assistant that a psychologist or any clinician cannot afford, and we offer a lot of solution for them, from booking, payments, consent management, patient management, insurance management, all those things. And on top, we offer journaling system as well, which has a lot of AI integrated within. Not only a chat, it has like pre-post session dashboard and a lot of different workflows that help all the clinicians to do their job faster and focus more on the patient, and we do the rest.
Oh, that's pretty much nice. Can I ask you something? You talk about the privacy. Do you have your own system, for example, your cloud system for every psychologist or psychiatrist, or do you use this their own, for example, OneDrive or Google Drive, or do you separate that?
So the thing that we offer is on-device transcribing. Nothing leave the device. So audio being kept in their device, and they can delete it afterward, or they can just keep it in their device. And the only thing that we are dealing with is text, and all those texts has different agents based on the, the clinicians and different patient in our system, and everything are separated. All the AI and all the core system does not mix data at all. uh, and then our servers are hosted in EU, and we are GDPR compliance, and it's in Microsoft, and we are building some relation and making some progress towards having in-house servers as well if it's needed, to offer, and building also some servers in Denmark as well. We are in the negotiation right now.
In regards to mental health, right, which is a field where personal connection is key, right? So you're basically going for therapy, let's say, and you're talking to another human being about your human being problems, right? So in what ways do you make sure that AI enhances that connection or that relationship? And just because we're talking about in a very sensitive way about people's problems, So how do you see AI under psychologists enhancing that connection or being less disruptive as possible?
So we are not tapping into those areas. What we are doing, we are only offering some workflow management behind the scene, and we are not tapping into anything between the patient and clinician. What we do is we just separate the discussion and then grab some of the key points from the discussion and then put it together. So it's more of an assistant. If you have a real assistant in your office, they are not reading everything and they are not saying anything about your uh, patient, for example. Yeah, I believe that person was like having that. No, just they are doing whatever they've been asked to do in more of a computer way, so they are not intelligence in that sense. But the thing that they don't do is more of a reading transcription, because old days, they after the session they were clinician just recording their voice to write down whatever they have in a very safe environment. And now we offer that solution to just record whatever they need to do and whatever they promise, and then we just visualize it in a nice way. And all our system, there is no hallucination in the way, because our system does not think in a way. It just use the current information and sort things out based on the situation. It does not come up with solution, come up with scenarios. It does not do any of those. That's why I'm saying, like, the public mentality of AI is different than the machine learning and artificial intelligence that being used in the software development. And yeah, we are not tapping into that direction. That's why we are not even regulated in the medical terms, and we don't need to have FDA approvals, and we don't need to go with those scenarios, because this system is already out there, and we are not diagnose anything. So we're just helping out for clinicians to have more time and more freedom in their mind to just imagine between two sessions, they have 15 to 20 minutes. They have to write down whatever they remember from the session before on the paper, and then remember whatever the next person was talking last week from the very messy notes, and just talk with the next person. And end of the day, they have 5 to 10 different notes that they need to remember everything from the whole day and just organize it somehow. And just imagine, if you had any mental health issue, you know how deep it is. And then that professional need to deal with 5 to 10 different type, from like family issue, personal issue, children issue, harassment issue, like different type in a row. And, and, and then they should not even get a stress or anything as a human being, because it's their job. But I know it's their job, they signed up for it, but it's hard to, like, from the heart to believe in what's happening. And what we are doing is like, okay, we help you to ease out the process. And that's the whole idea. And if I'm a programmer, and I was in a company that I had to deal with 5 different projects at the same time. I was a lead of different projects, and I had only responsibility of one project as a coder. And changing context, it was horrible. In one day, I had to release like 3 to 4 different apps and make sure everything is right, and there were no human being involved. There was just, okay, if there is any bug, someone cannot pay the first time, and then the second time it's okay. You know what I'm saying? No one would die or have a suicide or uh, get depression or anything. And I got a stress of handling different contexts in the same day. So that when you think about it in deep level, it's like even a slight help can save someone's life even.
Yeah, the stakes are much higher, right? Because we're talking about health. You know, it's healthcare. It's somebody with that needs help in their mental state. So it's the stakes are higher than just coding an app that is gonna help you scan some wines, let's say, or like facilitate your the overview of your mobile subscription, right? So the stakes are much higher when we're talking about mental health. Talking about that, so how we know that there's as AI grows a lot more within the healthcare industry, right? It's just spreading, and then this is in every conversation about AI and how people foresee the near future. Healthcare is always there, and then a lot of the tech gurus or people looking into the future, they're looking that they're foreseeing that healthcare is going to absorb a huge impact, or let's say capitalize a lot on what AI can provide, right? So with this in mind, where do you think this is going to go? Where do you see AI being absorbed in healthcare, and the ethical implications of that?
So first thing first, I'm not in a position to say what's gonna happen. What I can say is like what I have heard from the top leaders. Like I was in different clinical summit, health summit in different places, especially in Denmark, and I've heard a lot of top leaders of governments. They are having the same concern. And the good thing is in the mental health and also in the healthcare in general, ethic is a thing uh, that's always there, and they believe in it and they trust and they promise each other about that. And what I see is like as much as we can have professional or clinicians or those people who are experts being involved in the tech part. For example, in our company we have a psychologist 20 plus years as a co-founder, and he believes in the tech and he brings all the knowledge and all the ethical part of it to the system and say like, if you're doing it, it should be that way. If you're doing that, that's why I'm saying like we are all transparent. All the mentality that is coming from the expert that knows those areas. So what I believe is like, first, EU does doing a lot of different things to help that. Past Friday, uh, government of Denmark announced a new healthcare strategy about for next, I think, 5 years or something, up to 2030, and it's being mentioned there all the AI, how we are doing that, how we want to achieve that, how it's going to happen next couple of years, what's the support from government. I think we are on the right direction, and the talks that I hear and being participated from the top people is like they care, and in worldwide we are lacking a lot of professional and nurses and uh, health health professional and like doctors. And with the new AI solutions, with the new software, with the less restricted ways, which is not removing restriction or ethical, it's more of a like, if we approve a very big solution, which is like, for example, OpenAI, and then a lot of different solution out of that system can help the healthcare. And what I see is like we are going to the right direction, and all the concerns coming up from governments, from different companies are right. It's just a matter of how experts in the tech are using it towards to having better solution and better future. Because if you're not following the same path as being shown to us by the governments or by specialized people, then we go to the old days of like having trust issue with your phone or with the other system of like, is it listening? Do I get advertisement on my social media because I was talking on that? And that's the worst case scenarios that is happening these days. But what I see in the health tech, we are not talking about those usage. And there are lots of company that I'm talking these days, startup and large company. They are saying like, we are not selling our data towards like some companies or someone that wants to see. The only selling part is towards having a statistic for the governments, for the researchers, for the education. That is the place that should being used all those data. Except that, no. And I think we are going to the right direction.
Can I ask you something like now how we're talking about regulation and the perspectives for the future? Where do you see psychologists now, and where do you see your company like in the future? Like where is your actual state? Where do you envision in the next couple of years?
We started very strong, to be honest. We have mentor from Danish life science cluster. We have mentor from government in the business hub of Copenhagen. We have mentor in the startup as well. But what we are doing, we are going to also have a good communication with some companies acting between public and private sector for the healthcare. And what we are right now, we are following all the regulation as we supposed to, and we are adjusting our system and also seeking for help to make sure we are in the right direction in a way that we should not be regulated as a medical device or something, because we are not offering any diagnosis or anything, and all the transparency, as thanks God we are part of EU, is just helping us to expand to any other countries. Because some other country, they don't force you to do that, but still we are doing it, and it's a good use case right now. And we are launching our product in January, and we hope we can expand to, at the beginning, all Nordic countries, because we are almost the same everywhere in Nordic, especially with the system, health system, and we are the most advanced and complex one in the world. And if we pass this one, we can just expand to anywhere else. And in a couple of years, we're expanding to UK or Canada, and then the next is US.
One of the, I think we're approaching the end of our episode, but one of the last questions I'm going to ask, my last question, and Matheus has one more as well, and then we're going to wrap up. But so with the evolution of AI and spreading also into software development, how do you see the impact of AI for developers across the globe? And do you think people would still be writing code in a couple of years from now?
Uh, I have a completely unrelated answer for this, which you answer your question. So, do we still having a handmade design wooden table that is out there?
Yeah, I think so. I
Uh,
personally believe that that's going to be, with AI at least, is going to be to make more meaningful and more valuable when you do things with your hands, because that's inherently human.
so at the beginning, when all the machines were introduced, it was really expensive table which was built by super intelligence automatic machine. And nowadays, all the handmade things cost almost 10 times more than IKEA, for example, or other machinery solutions. So what I believe in the future, it's the same, but we are talking about tech, not tangible materials, and we build ourselves those things. So talking with the machine, it was at the beginning hard, from 0 1 stage to now all the developed languages, which is closer to human language, and all the processes that we were seeing with the new languages was like we were building something for this day, and that was like we were building something to be closer to the human language. Now with Claudia or something, or other AI solution that you can just write, I want an app to do that and this and that, and then it will build for you. And that is the future. We were building this for many years to have a software language to build something for us. But you still can see out there some developers that they know how to work with Pascal or some old languages that's gonna be the current languages in the future, to build a software. But what I believe, what we build old days, like the banking softwares or those software, with a lot of Q&A, quality assurance and all the processes, and also what we landed as a whole spaceship to another planet, uh, is like we built something old days that was like more than everything that we are building these days. So it's gonna be the same in the future, and the quality is important. Whatever we build with AI is like something, but the quality is more important, and how we do it, it's up to us.
So I think we're just to tap a little bit on what you're saying is basically it's a it's just the way we're doing things, right? So before you have also to have a printed physical card to
Yeah,
program and you have to insert into the machine. So it was very technical. And I think we're still very technical with the coding languages. But the moment you transition from that, like learning a coding language to natural language, which is basically telling the computer that we'll understand exactly what you're saying because you're speaking the same language,
yeah,
then I think that's basically what we're talking about. That transition from a different way of speaking with the computer.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And Emad, your mission includes like helping developers worldwide. And what advice do you have for to give like to developers to create meaningful AI applications in the fields like mental health?
Don't panic, and always reach out to other people if you need help, and follow the ethical matter, your gut feeling. If your gut feeling says like this is not right, it's definitely not right. And yeah, I think we are in a, at least I built something for my brain. I'm a positive person, generally speaking, even when I was too deep in my brain. But we are in a place right now that we can build some good future for ourselves. And if we miss this opportunity, maybe it's too late.
Awesome. I think we're reached the end of our episode. Where people can find you online.
LinkedIn, Twitter, or X. My website. I quit Instagram. 3 months, I think. It's like some other topic that we have, like an hour that we can talk about it. But or in person in Denmark, I'm sitting in a shared office called Talent Garden. I travel around the world, so anywhere almost. But I'm based in Copenhagen.
Awesome. We're gonna put your links in the show
Yeah.
notes.
Great.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for agreeing in being here with us. And yeah, it was really nice. It was a great conversation. So yeah, we reached the end of our episode. Thanks again, Emad, for being with us. And yeah,
Thank you for having me.
if you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It's free and helps us a lot. This way, it can help us also reach new listeners. Oh, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to stay up to date on our latest episodes. If you have any questions for us, reach out to us at hello@humanaixp.com or connect with us on Instagram. Thanks for listening. See you next week.